Shocking injury update. We'll be talking about Zach LaVine and also to Lonzo Ball, who ESPN is listed as some of the most important injury updates for the Chicago Bulls, along with Patirick Williams. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so we're jumping into an article by ESPN, and they're talking about players who are going to be most important to their teams, and they're talking about injury updates for these players. Zach LaVine and also to Lonzo Ball were listed as the two most important updates for the Chicago Bulls. And so let's go ahead and jump into what they had to say about Lonzo Ball. You can find this on ESPN. It's key player injury returns ahead of the 24-25 season. And they start with Lonzo Ball, and they talk about the fact that he is coming off 3 different knee surgeries, including a cartilage transplant. And they talk about the fact that he is joining a backcourt that has Zach LaVine, Josh Giddey, Kobe White, and then also Ayo Dosunmu as well. All right, and so with that being said, you're looking at Lonzo and you're saying to yourself, okay, what is he going to contribute to the Chicago Bulls? And I've said this before. Look, if he's 75 to 100%, I think that he is going to be coming off the bench. I think that he could be very effective coming off the bench, but I think that him starting with the Chicago Bulls is just not going to happen, especially since they went ahead, they've traded for Josh Giddey, and they've really invested in him. And Josh Giddey has already come out and said that that is one of the main reasons why he wanted to leave OKC. It was to be back in the starting guard role and be able to lead a team. And so with that being said, I think that he's on a 1-year contract. I don't see that Lonzo is going to be coming back to the Chicago Bulls. And I think that this would be good for the Chicago Bulls because they get a chance to showcase him. And then they would also get a chance to maybe get Lonzo over to a winning situation. I'm sure that there are going to be teams that would be picking up the phone and wanting to go after a guard that has the high IQ level on the offense and the defensive end, can start the fast break, can rebound, and can knock down shots. And I think that there is a contender that is absolutely going to want Lonzo Ball. And this works out a lot for the Chicago Bulls because now it looks like that Ayo is going to be coming off the bench. And so now you have Ayo coming off the bench, and he can now be effective as a 6-man and really leading that unit with Modest Buzelis. And so, look, Lonzo, even if he is coming back and he's not all the way healthy, he's not in your plans anyway. So if he's on a minute restriction, that's fine too. I don't think that he necessarily gets in the way of those players coming off the bench. And regardless of what happens, I'm really rooting for Lonzo Ball. Regardless if he's with the Chicago Bulls or not, I am really hoping that he is able to continue his career. I think that he is a tremendous player, especially when healthy, and he's really gone through a lot at this point. So I'm just rooting for Lonzo Ball, even if he is not going to help the Chicago Bulls necessarily win this season or for some seasons to come. And so next we move into now Zach LaVine, and they talk about Zach LaVine, and they talked about him being one of the first to be back in the training camp. I talked about that before. They also talk about the fact that, there's massive rumors going around with him being in a trade. And they just talk about the fact that he has come back fully healthy. And I'm sure they're probably referring to the workout videos and things that we've all seen where he's looking very smooth in these open runs. And so for me personally, Zach LaVine, I think his injury and coming back is the same for me as Lonzo Ball. It's just not as concerning because I think both of those players are not going to be in the Chicago Bulls' future. And look, I know that Zach LaVine has got a hefty salary with the contract situation, but let's be honest. I mean, there's just so much of a narrative around him, and I don't think that there's any player that is unmovable. But at this point in time, he's just not movable. You know that he's not going to be in your future. And so regardless if he's healthy or not, Chicago might have to just go ahead and eat the contract. And so with that being said, I think the front office has got to say to themselves, okay, look, you might be here we're going to continue to try to trade you and work with you. I totally get it. But his usage rate is probably going to have to go down. You're going to have to move out of the way at some point for some of these players that we're trying to evaluate. You can still, get minutes, up your trade value by going out there and playing. But I just think that with Zach LaVine, even if he were to go down next season, look, the Chicago Bulls are probably going to be in the same situation that they were going to be in had he been healthy. I just don't think that there's teams that are buying in just yet. And it may take some time for him to go out there and really get this trade value up to where a team wants to come in. I've even said that I personally feel like it may even take down to just 1 year of the contract left before Zach LaVine is moved, or a year and a half on the contract before somebody decides to move in to get Zach LaVine. And that's counting that he's still playing at an elite level, that, teams feel like he can come in, he can contribute, be a scorer, but he can also play off of others and help the team win. And so I just think that that is my personal opinion, but I think that neither of those injuries really matter. And this is what gets me, and I think that this is what is shocking about these whole injuries and coming into 24, 25. We talk about Lonzo, we talk about Zach LaVine, but nobody's talking about Patirick Williams. And I think that this is shocking to me because you went out and you invested 5 years, $90 million into Patirick Williams, and you went out and you did it before anybody on the market could perhaps offer him a contract, which suggests to me as a Chicago Bulls fan, and also too, just as an NBA fan, you really believe that Patirick Williams is going to be a major part of your future. I totally get it. I'm totally fine with that. You believe in the upside, and there is some upside there if he can prove to be healthy, In fact, in his month where he went on a tear last year, he was a 14, 4, and a 2 guy. And this was according to CHGO podcast when I was listening to them. So you get a chance to see, how good he can be in a month's worth of play when he's really locked in. And so I get it with Patirick Williams. There's a lot of upside here, but nobody is talking about the fact that he is coming off of surgery. We have not seen any open runs with him. We've seen open runs with Lonzo. We've seen open runs with Zach LaVine, but nobody's seen an open run with Patirick Williams. And all we have is really a quote where he spoke with Casey Johnson saying that he was going to be fully ready for training camp. But we haven't heard any other updates. None, no updates. And that is what is really getting me about this situation because, look, he went down to a bone injury in his foot. There's been no updates. There's been no videos. He's obviously a major part of your future. And when you look at it, Isaac Okoro, who is the same age as Patirick Williams, just signed a 3-year, $33 million deal. And a lot of people can look at this and say, look, they have similar numbers, but it looks like just off the strength of Isaac Okoro being available and healthy for games, he might have the better trajectory for a better career just for being on the court. And so it is not good that we have invested into Patirick Williams. We don't have any updates. And I think that he should absolutely be listed on this list for the Chicago Bulls because he is huge for the way that the Chicago Bulls are going to build, because I think that he is going to be a major building block piece. And personally for me, I think that Patirick Williams is going to definitely be worth the contract and the investment if he can go out and he can be an 18, he can be a 5 and a 3. So 18 points, 5 rebounds, and at least 3 assists a game. And I don't think that that's too much to ask for, considering that Kobe White just came off a 19, 4, and 5. And I think that he still has some upside. But I think that if Patirick Williams were able to stay on the court and produce like that, that's certainly going to show you that he was worth that investment. I think he would be definitely a building block piece that the Chicago Bulls can have moving forward, in my personal opinion. And he's also shown that he can even do better than than that. There was one game in the 23-24 season, he had 25, 7, and 4. And so, look, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that we should have definitely had Patirick Williams listed as maybe one of the most important injury updates for the Chicago Bulls coming into this season? Do you think that, no, it is Zach LaVine and it is Lonzo Ball and their injury situation that is most important to the Chicago Bulls? I'd love to know what you think in the comments. Before we jump out of here, I just want to thank everybody for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It means a lot to me as we try to reach 5,000 subscribers before the NBA season starts. Wanted to let you know that 65.3% of you that watch the videos are not subscribed, so make sure that you continue to slam dunk on that subscribe button for me as we try to reach that goal. And even though we are talking about injuries to players that probably aren't going to be in our future, and we're not talking about the right injury updates, I'm still saying go Bulls, and I will see you on the next one. Peace, peace, peace.